Hey Garrett, I was reading through your writing, and I also see that you posted the PDF. That's great. I don't think we're going to look at the PDF, though. I think we can see everything we need to see, right? You know what? But I do want to see something here because I just noticed something that might prove to be problematic, and it is okay. These big white sides on the poster. Let me explain to you what likely is happening here. Okay, so there could be a stray point over here. Like, so for example, let's say you were working on an illustration here and you moved it over here just to put it on the side for a second, and then you continued working. If there's anything off the artboard, when you create the PDF, the program is going to think that's part of the illustration. So it's going to bring it in there, and it doesn't know what to do with the background, so it just adds white. Typically what I'll do when I'm done with my illustrations, I'll just take my marquee selection, my selection tool, and I'll just come over and I'll marquee select that just to make sure there's nothing on the sides on either side. But you want to make sure that the poster is the correct poster size without these extra white wings on the side, so to speak. Okay, the work is coming along absolutely beautiful. I love what you did with the mountains. I love what you did with the color of the highlights. That's fantastic. The sky, that subtle gradient is beautiful. Typography looks fantastic. Tagline, the logo, I mean, you're doing good stuff. Just a couple of areas I think that we could add some interest in, a couple of areas of comment. So right now, like I said, I love what you've done with these highlight areas on the mountains. Okay, look at that depth. That's great. That's done by overlapping. That's fantastic. We kind of lose it over here in two areas a little bit on the left-hand side. This right here has this highlight that kind of goes up and over the mountain. And that wouldn't be, that highlight would end where the light source ends. So that would be a need to be adjusted there. And then right over here, if you can kind of mimic what you've done over here. I just love the dimension and the depth that you're getting over here. But right now we get it right here, but right here it's just it's missing. So we're going to need to add something. And the way it had it before, it looked kind of it didn't look right. So try to duplicate. I'm not saying exactly, but try to mimic the style you've done here with the left-hand side of the mountains. I'm okay with this. One of your classmates said that it looks strange that the trees that the ground goes off into the trees. I'm perfectly fine with it. I think it adds a really interesting level of interest, of engagement. As a matter of fact, I would push it further and I would take those trees and enlarge them a little bit just to reinforce that that's a wooded area. As far as the drop shadow looks great. I think the drop shadow definitely adds a little bit of depth. And also, we you see what I'm saying? We don't need that gradient. As far as the drop shadow goes, my only thing about the drop shadow is that this guy look in the shadow looks like he's a pretty what's the word I want to use? Large. He looks like a pretty large guy. He's very wide in the shadow, and I don't think the shadow depicts the shape of his body as realistically as it could. So my recommendation is this guy's real trim, but the shadow looks like a kind of a husky guy, right? So let's try to get husky. That's the word I was looking for. So try to get the shadow to mimic the shape of this kind of slender silhouette. Finally, last comment is that we're talking about wilderness, right? Go explore, do more adventure America, outdoors, wilderness, exploring. But we kind of lose that in the translation a little bit. This should be a dirt path, right? I mean, we're way out in the wilderness. It doesn't make sense that there would be a paved road out in the wilderness. And the this is indicated as that the cracks to me tell me this is a paved road, but why is a paved road out in the middle of the wilderness? That to me doesn't make sense. I would think this would be a dirt road. Also, the cracks in the pavement kind of add a little bit of negative connotation to the piece. So I'm not sure I'm on board with the cracks. I would definitely try to make that more of a kind of an organic, um, maybe kind of a curved or maybe some sort of a path, dirt path, and not a paved road. Other than that, I think you're doing great. So nice work. I'll tell you what would be really cool too is maybe add a bird. a bird, and maybe, I don't know, just a couple of more little points of interest. Think about it, and you're well on your way. I think it's a very successful piece so far. So fantastic job. Just a couple of areas of interest, I think, might be interesting. Okay, I'm sorry, a couple of areas, a couple of like a bird or maybe something. I don't know. Think about it. Okay, fantastic. Any questions at all? Please let me know. I'll be glad to make any necessary clarifications. Great job. Thanks, Garrett.